Let's start with the first news. Khamzat is already looking ahead, and it seems he has one goal firmly locked in his mind. After his recent battle with Sean Strickland, the undefeated star reportedly wants nothing more than to run it back inside the octagon. While there had been plenty of speculation about his future, new comments from his coaching team have revealed exactly what has been happening behind the scenes. According to Khamzat's coach during a recent interview with Red Corner MMA, the original plan before his last fight was completely different. The team had been preparing for a move up to the light heavyweight division, where Khamzat was expected to face Garry at 205 pounds. Because of that matchup, the focus of his training camp shifted toward building strength and adding muscle. He intentionally gained weight and improved his physique to compete against the naturally bigger opponent. However, everything changed when the UFC decided to go in another direction. Instead of moving up to light heavyweight, Khamzat was told he would be staying at middleweight to fight Sean Strickland at 185 pounds. That sudden change forced the team to completely adjust their preparation in a very short amount of time. After spending weeks adding muscle and increasing his body weight, they suddenly had to reverse course and begin a difficult weight cut. His coach admitted that the unexpected switch created far more problems than they had anticipated. The weight cut became one of the biggest challenges of the entire camp, making preparation much harder than expected. Even so, Khamzat pushed through the difficult circumstances and made it to fight night. Now, according to his coach, Khamzat has not stopped thinking about that matchup. He revealed that since the fight ended, Khamzat has been constantly texting his manager, making it clear that he wants the Sean Strickland rematch as soon as possible. The message from Khamzat appears to be simple and direct. He believes there is still unfinished business, and he is determined to settle it inside the octagon. Move on to another news. One of the biggest stories in MMA right now continues to be the future of Usman Nurmagomedov. After successfully completing the final fight of his PFL contract, speculation about a move to the UFC has reached another level. Nothing has been officially announced yet, but the excitement continues to build, especially after Dana White reacted positively when asked about the possibility following UFC Belgrade. Now, another major voice has weighed in. Former UFC flyweight champion Demetrius Johnson believes the UFC should do everything possible to sign Usman before the upcoming PFL and MVP merger. According to DJ, if he were in Dana White's position, he would pay Usman whatever it takes to bring him to the UFC. He believes signing a fighter of Usman's caliber would not only strengthen the UFC roster, but also take one of the biggest stars away from a rival organization. DJ also pointed out that Usman is part of one of the most successful teams in mixed martial arts. Training alongside Khabib Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev, Umar Nurmagomedov, Abubakar Nurmagomedov, and the rest of the team has helped shape him into an undefeated champion with incredible potential. Johnson believes Usman has already proven himself in the PFL and that it's time to test himself against the best fighters in the UFC lightweight division. With names like Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Arman, Khamzat's longtime teammate Islam Makhachev, and many other elite contenders, the opportunities are endless. Usman currently holds a perfect 22-0 professional record, making him one of the most valuable free agents in the sport. If the UFC secures his signature, they could immediately match him against a huge name. Fighters like Ilya, Arman, or even Paddy Pimblett have all been mentioned as possible debut opponents, depending on how negotiations unfold. If Usman ultimately remains with the PFL after the merger, the financial rewards could certainly be attractive. However, many fans believe the UFC offers the biggest stage, the toughest competition, and the greatest opportunity to build a lasting legacy against the very best fighters in the world. Move on to another news. The upcoming welterweight title clash between Islam Makhachev and Ian Garry continues to divide the MMA world. But one top contender has made his opinion absolutely clear. Michael Morales has revealed that he gives Ian Garry absolutely no chance of defeating the reigning champion, and he didn't hesitate when explaining why. Before the UFC officially announced Islam versus Ian Garry, many fans believed Michael Morales was next in line for the title opportunity. In fact, Morales fueled that speculation himself after posting photos with Hunter Campbell and repeatedly hinting that he had already received confirmation about his next fight. For a while, it looked like all signs were pointing toward him getting the championship opportunity. However, the UFC ultimately decided to move in a different direction and booked Garry instead. Although Morales missed out on the title shot, he has been following the matchup closely, and he recently shared his honest thoughts during an interview with Danny Segura from MMA Junkie on Abimos MMA. According to Morales, he simply cannot see a realistic path to victory for Garry. He confidently stated that Garry has 0% chance of beating Islam Makhachev. Morales even explained that he had successfully predicted every fight on the recent White House card, making him even more confident in his latest prediction. Morales believes the only possible way Garry could pull off the upset would be by landing one devastating strike capable of instantly stopping Islam. Outside of that scenario, he expects the champion to completely control the fight from start to finish. He explained that Islam has followed the same successful blueprint throughout his entire career. First, he uses his striking to create openings and force his opponent to react. Then, once the opportunity appears, he secures the takedown and begins controlling the fight on the ground. Morales believes Islam's grappling, pressure, and positional control are simply too much for Garry to deal with over 5 rounds. In his opinion, the fight will either spend almost the entire championship distance on the canvas, with Islam dominating every exchange, or the champion will eventually find a submission or ground and pound finish before the final bell. Morales made it clear that he is completely backing Islam to retain his title without much trouble. With UFC 330 now just around the corner, anticipation continues to grow as fight fans wait to see whether Islam once again proves why he is considered one of the most complete fighters in the sport. Expectations are incredibly high, and the welterweight title fight is shaping up to be one of the most talked about matchups of the year. Move on to another news. Merab has officially shifted his full attention toward one of the biggest fights of his career as he prepares for a highly anticipated rematch with Petr Yan. With the opportunity to reclaim the bantamweight title on the line, Merab believes this training camp is completely different from the one leading into their first meeting, and he is confident those changes will make all the difference when they step back inside the octagon. Recently, Merab gave fans an inside look at his preparation and explained how things have evolved this time around. According to him, one of his latest training sessions was extremely productive because the team focused on specific positions and situations that he expects to encounter against Petr Yan. Rather than simply pushing himself through exhausting workouts every day, the entire camp has been built around improving the areas that matter most for this particular matchup. Merab explained that this camp feels like a real championship preparation. He and his coaches are constantly discussing strategy, breaking down positions, and making sure every training session has a clear purpose. Instead of relying only on endless hard work, the focus has shifted toward making smarter decisions inside and outside the gym. Looking back at their first fight, Merab admitted that he spent too much energy trying to outwork everyone. While his determination has never been questioned, he now believes that training harder is not always the answer. This time, he wants to train smarter, recover properly, and arrive on fight night feeling fresh, sharp, and fully prepared for every possible situation. According to Merab, that change in mentality has already made him feel much more confident. He believes the lessons learned from the first fight have helped shape a better game plan, and he expects a completely different performance in the rematch. Every session is designed to sharpen his timing, improve his reactions, and prepare him for the technical battle that awaits against one of the division's toughest competitors. Merab also made it clear that his ultimate goal is simple. He wants to take his championship belt back and prove that he has evolved into an even better fighter since their previous meeting. He believes the smarter approach to training will allow him to perform at the highest level when the pressure is greatest. Once he reclaims the title, Merab plans to remain active as champion and continue building his legacy. His focus is not only on winning the belt, but also on staying busy, defending the championship, and showing that the adjustments made throughout this camp can lead to a much different outcome when he faces Petr Yan once again. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev has once again shared the mindset that has helped turn him into one of the most dominant champions in mixed martial arts. While many fighters like to claim they are unbeatable, Islam takes a completely different approach. he openly admits that every fighter can be beaten, including himself. However, he believes there is one factor that separates him from everyone else, and that is his relentless commitment to preparation and hard work. During a recent interview, Islam explained that he never looks at himself as an invincible athlete. Instead, he understands that the sport is unpredictable and that anyone can lose on the right night. Even with that understanding, he carries an incredible level of confidence because he believes no one is willing to prepare as hard as he does. According to Islam, whenever people talk about who might eventually defeat him, his mind immediately goes to one important question. He asks himself, who is actually training harder than he is? His answer is always the same. He genuinely believes that nobody is putting in more work than him, and that belief has become one of the biggest sources of his confidence every time he steps into the octagon. For Islam, success is not built on talent alone. It comes from countless hours inside the gym, pushing through difficult training sessions, improving every aspect of his game, and maintaining complete discipline throughout every fight camp. He believes those sacrifices give him a mental advantage long before the opening bell even rings. That work ethic also allows him to enter every fight knowing he has done everything possible to prepare. Because of that, he says he never doubts himself when facing any opponent, regardless of their reputation or accomplishments. He trusts the process that has carried him to the top of the sport. Islam also emphasized that preparation is not only about physical conditioning. He believes mental readiness is just as important. By consistently training at the highest level and refusing to take shortcuts, he feels completely prepared both mentally and physically for any challenge placed in front of him. That mindset has become a defining part of his championship reign. Rather than relying on confidence alone, Islam builds his belief through consistent effort, discipline, and daily improvement. As long as he continues to outwork the competition, he feels ready for anyone the UFC puts across from him. In his eyes, hard work remains the greatest weapon in his entire arsenal, and it is the foundation that allows him to compete against any opponent with complete confidence every single time he enters the octagon. Move on to another news. Fresh rumors surrounding UFC 331 continue to gain momentum, and this time they involve a massive lightweight showdown between Arman and former UFC champion Charles Oliveira. After weeks of speculation about whether the fight would actually happen, multiple reports now suggest that the matchup is currently being worked on and could serve as the main event of UFC 331 in Los Angeles. For quite some time, fans have debated whether Arman would face Charles Oliveira and whether the contest would be contested for the BMF title. However, despite the growing excitement, the latest reports indicate that the BMF belt is not expected to be on the line. While many supporters expected the championship to be attached to such a high-profile fight, there has been no indication that the UFC plans to make it a BMF title bout. At the moment, the exact reason behind that decision remains unclear. The UFC has not publicly explained why the fight would move forward without the BMF championship, leaving fans to speculate about the promotion's plans. According to a recent report from Red Corner MMA, sources claim that Arman and Charles Oliveira are currently being targeted to headline UFC 331. If the report proves accurate, it would mark one of the biggest lightweight fights of the year and could have major implications for the title picture moving forward. The report has also created some confusion because earlier expectations suggested that Joshua Van and Alexandra Pantoja would headline the event in a flyweight title fight. If the latest information is correct, that championship bout would instead become the co-main event, while Arman and Charles Oliveira would close out the show. Although some fans find that decision surprising, especially if the fight is not for the BMF belt, the UFC has consistently shown that it is willing to structure cards based on overall fan interest and long-term matchmaking plans. Until the promotion makes an official announcement, everything remains unofficial. But the rumors continue to build significant excitement. For now, all eyes remain on UFC 331 as fans wait for confirmation. If the fight is finalized, Arman versus Charles Oliveira would instantly become one of the most anticipated matchups on the calendar and could play a major role in shaping the future of the lightweight division. Move on to another news. The UFC has officially added several new matchups to its upcoming schedule, and a couple of these fights could have serious consequences for the careers of the athletes involved. According to AG Fight, Elvis Brenner will face Josiah Harrell on a UFC Vegas card scheduled for September 26. Brenner has been with the UFC since 2023 and made an impressive first impression by winning his first 3 fights inside the octagon. However, his momentum has completely shifted as he now enters this matchup riding a 3-fight losing streak. His most recent appearance came against Esteban Ribovics in an action-packed fight of the night performance. Although both fighters delivered an entertaining battle, Brenner ultimately fell short, losing by unanimous decision. That defeat increased the pressure on him heading into his next appearance. On the opposite side, Josiah Harrell arrived in the UFC this year, carrying an undefeated 11-0 professional record. Unfortunately, his promotional debut did not go as planned. He suffered the first loss of his career after being stopped by Jacoby Smith via first-round TKO. Now, both fighters will be looking to bounce back and earn an important victory. Another newly reported matchup comes from Marcel Dorff, who revealed that Francisco Prado is expected to face Artem Minev on a UFC Vegas card scheduled for October 10th. This fight may be even more important, especially for Prado, who currently owns just 1 win in 6 UFC appearances and is riding a 4-fight losing streak. Prado last competed at UFC 327 against Charles Ratke, where he dropped a unanimous decision. With his recent struggles, many believe this contest has become a must-win if he wants to secure his place on the UFC roster. Meanwhile, Minev is also searching for his first UFC victory. Before signing with the promotion, he built an undefeated 7-0 professional record. However, his octagon debut ended in disappointment after suffering a second-round TKO loss to Tommy Gant. With both athletes desperately trying to get their first win inside the UFC, this matchup has all the ingredients to become one of the most entertaining sleeper fights on the entire card, as both competitors are expected to leave everything inside the octagon in pursuit of a career-changing victory.